Her face was black. Her hair was straight. She had black lipstick. Everything she wore was black. And she sat back in the chair, very unladylike. And with the attitude, now what? What are you going to do for me? And in fact, that was just the beginning. She was under house arrest. Not with us, but in Connecticut. And she had, had to wear one of those little bracelets around her ankle. You remember that, Sarah? No, you don't. You don't want to remember some things. But God did a wonderful work in her life. And that's what we're celebrating tonight. Sarah, come on up. She's now Dr. Sarah Gamble. When she went into Taylor University for pre-med, her personality didn't change. In fact, it got more acute. Is that kind of a good word?
Good medical term.
Well, because when Sally and I went to visit her at Taylor, we knew that her personality really hadn't changed, because the first day we saw her at Taylor, she was telling us that she'd gotten kicked out of the library. And you know why? You remember?
Barely.
Barely. One of those rules, you don't bring coffee into the library for the reason, and of course the reason was she spilt it all over the keyboard of the computer. So she was banned, and probably other things went on, but I'll let you share some of that. She has a wonderful testimony, and she is a young woman who really has a heart for the Lord Jesus Christ. So, Sarah?
Thank you. So it was called goth 16 years ago. But it was very slimming, black all the time. Forgive me, I have notes. I don't usually speak in public. I speak to patients a lot, but I didn't think it would be appropriate to tell you guys to stop eating cheeseburgers and take everything off and put this on. I'll be back in 5 minutes. So I wrote some stuff down. But what Fred said was true. 16 years ago, I was a very, very broken girl. But what I want to share with you tonight is the favor of the Lord that I have right now. That He has brought me from a woman who didn't even care if she was alive to someone who people come up to me on the street and say, "There's something about you," and it's the Lord. So another reason why I wanted to share this with you, when Fred asked me to come up, I was like, well, why? What am I going to talk about? It was 16 years ago. And then I also realized it's so men will know that He is Lord and there is no other. And that is one of the only things I can share with you about my life, that if there is no other, because I would not be standing before you today if there was. And so what I can share with you, how I got on this path, is just a little piece of me. And God works on us in all different ways. I don't know how He works on you, but in me, He tears me to pieces. And there's a verse that I give some of my patients when they are sick, when they are broken, and it's Hosea 6:1. He has torn me to pieces, but He will heal me. He has wounded me, but He will bandage me. And all of this is so I will press on to know the Lord. So I'm a doctor. I'm an internal medicine physician. I've been done with my formal studies for 6 years now. And a little piece of why I've been so broken is that I went into a field called hospital medicine. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but every day I took care of critically ill, hospitalized patients. There was no coughs, no colds, no medication refills. It was the dying patients that I took care of. And after 6 years, that got really hard. 6 years of being called out to have a family meeting and listen to a mom and a dad and a grandparent say to me, "Why can't you save my daughter?" 6 years of having to whisper, "I'm sorry," in the ear of a young man when I have to turn off his life support because that's what his family wants. So it got to the point where it was just so much. I didn't think I could be torn down anymore. I was bringing it home. It was ruining my marriage. It was ruining my self-esteem. And so what I did was I started to pray. And I just said, "God, you have to take this from me." And once I was quiet and listened to him, he said one word. He said, "Tithe." I was like, what does that have to do with anything? I'm telling you that I cannot go to work, I cannot show up, I cannot take care of these people anymore. And he said, "Tithe." So now I'm thinking, how am I going to tell my husband this? Because yes, I was a doctor, I had a great job, but I also had a $250,000 medical school debt, and we had a mortgage, and we still live paycheck to paycheck like everybody else. And now all of a sudden, God's telling me to tithe. So we sat down, we did a payment plan, and it hurt. No lie. Like, there were so many times when we just wanted to delay that one payment, or maybe we can just cancel this one. But I knew it was the Lord when he had said, "Just tithe." So we started tithing. And really good things started happening. I was appointed a clinical instructor at Columbia University, which took me out of the patient's room and put me into teaching new doctors and new students how to handle that moment when a family member said to them, "Why?" And that moment when it was their hand that had to turn off a breathing machine on someone. And so he gave me distance, but with that he gave me favor. Not many people get a Columbia University appointment as young as I did. And my husband, Rob, he had been a police officer in our town for 8 years, and all of a sudden there was favor. His superiors started recognizing the good work that he did. He was appointed fitness instructor for new recruits. He was appointed field training officer for all the new recruits coming in as well. Got the inside track for the K-9 position. It was unbelievable the amount of favor that was coming down on us. And I thought, thank you, God, you're right. Okay, tithing was the answer. Good job. I thought we had it totally under control. Things were going well. Things were going so well that I thought, let me take another step of faith. Let me take a step back. I want to start my own practice. I've got to be with people before they get to that point where I can't help them anymore. Unfortunately, that came with no paycheck. So I sat down and I prayed again, and I said, "God, you have to help." And I heard one word, and he said, "Give." And I was like, I'm already tithing, thank you. And I continued to pray, and crystal clear, "Give." I was like, Rob is gonna flip out. At this point, I had no job now. I had lost a very good paycheck. We were throwing all of our money into building my private practice. I had stopped getting manicures and pedicures, which was a humongous thing for me. I had convinced Rob it was part of my profession to have a manicure and a pedicure. So giving it up was a big sacrifice. But we decided to be obedient, and we started to give. First thing God said, take that savings account and empty it. And that savings account was our mortgage payments for the next 3 months. And so we gave it, and we just started to give. We gave to a home in Uganda that needed windows for child prostitutes. That's all they needed was windows. So we gave it, put the windows in, helped those little girls. We gave to a pastor in Senegal All he wanted to do was to be able to reach out to the small communities within 10 miles of him, because you couldn't walk 10 miles in a day. He needed a car. We gave for that car. We just kept giving. And it came full circle when God said to me, "What about the fold?" And I thought, oh, I would not be standing here if it wasn't for the fold. Why aren't I giving to the fold? The fold took a broken reed of a girl and gave her enough shelter so that God didn't break it. I mean, the fold gave me love when I didn't even think I deserved any. And so we decided we'd give back to the fold too. And I can honestly tell you that at this point in time, Rob and I have never had more favor. Because just since the give part, I've had my maybe 10 patients of my new practice grow into $1 million investment. I have investors who are Fortune 500 people who are asking to work with me. They want me to be their doctor. They want me to help them before they get to be that person in the hospital. My husband, Rob, is the golden child in the police department. He loves his job, and that shows so much. And so his superiors have still so much favor on him. And we're continually blessed with a marriage where we both just walk together towards God. And I can't tell you, I would never have thought when I was a resident at the Fold that singing church songs in the car with my husband would be an awesome way to pass the 6-hour ride up to Vermont. But it's a pretty awesome way to pass a 6-hour ride. We're blessed with a family, both of our families, with health, with success, unbelievable success in our families. And we're also blessed financially. We call it Jesus money. Money just shows up at our house sometimes. I say, what is this from? What are we getting this money from? I don't know, give it back. And we just give it back. And really what I'm here to tell you is, you have to press on to know him. And our way of pressing on was just putting our feet in the Jordan, before the water parted. You got to step into it. And he tore us to pieces. He doesn't say, oh, I'm going to protect you, I won't hurt, you're not going to get torn to pieces. No, we will be torn to pieces. We will be wounded. We will be bruised reeds. But he's not going to break us. He's not going to let this flame go out. And so I'm just asking you guys to see that as Rob and I give back to a program that gave me so much, that you would just press on to know him too. That's it.